What's going on, guys? Hope you guys are all having an amazing day. My name is Ricky, and in today's video I'm going to fully dive in and break in detail how it is that I use the EMA line, which is the exponential moving average, on the TD Ameritrade thinkorswim platform, and give you guys an exact breakdown and examples on how it is that I use it, why it is that I use it that way, and how it is that it has led to my success. I hope that by the end of this video you each have a better understanding of how it is that I utilize the EMA, and I want to make sure that you guys understand that the way that I use it is not the only way to use it out there. So make sure that you do your own due diligence, and I hope that by the end of this video you guys can now both day trade and swing trade successfully. Hope you guys enjoy. Boom, boom, boom. All right, guys, so this is the TD Ameritrade thinkorswim platform, and as you guys can see, just so for those that don't know, in very simple terms, this is the EMA line. So it's the moving average exponential, and if you don't have it already added to your thinkorswim platform, all you have to do is you go to studies, you can simply click edit studies, so you could search for it, and it's called moving average exponential. So you can put MOV, average, MVG, and then exponential. So you can click on this one and you can just overlap it with the price. As you guys can see, a lot of people have asked me, Ricky, why is your EMA line set at 15 and not at the default 9? Or why is it that sometimes you have it at 25 or 30? How is it that you utilize it, and what does it mean? In this video, I'm going to explain to you simply how I use it. First of all, the EMA line, the reason that I find this study filter to be, or the study to be so effective, is when you're looking at this overall chart on the 180-day chart. I do a lot of swing trading. That's really the main niche that I've been focusing on, meaning that I tend to hold stocks not just for a day, but a number of days. And I want to make sure that the stock that I'm investing in, just like my account, is going to be moving up, right? I'm investing in something for it to grow in value. And the EMA line, I think, does an amazing job giving you an understanding if, the stock is trending up on the big picture, or if it's trending down big picture. So how is it that you know with the EMA line if it's trending up or down? For those that already know, when the candlesticks, right? So when these candlesticks, you see this EMA line right here, this blue line, when the candlesticks are trending above the EMA line, that is showing signs of an uptrend. And one of the things that's a very common pattern is usually when it breaks above the EMA line, so we usually say wait for the break above the 180-day EMA line. So, once it starts, when it starts trending down, that's one thing, right? So it's trending down, blah, 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 blah. It consolidates, and then it breaks above the EMA line. It doesn't just shoot up, right? It rides up, and then it tends to bounce off the EMA line. So it almost acts as a support, giving you a better understanding on where is it a good buy and where is a good sell. So for the good sell, you're going to have to look at it more intraday or have a better understanding of support and resistance. But that's for another video. But with the overall understanding, I like to invest in stocks or ETFs that are actively trending up above the 180-day EMA and bounce off the EMA line. Now, when the candlesticks start to trend below the EMA line, that is showing signs of a downward pattern. So a good example is JDST. When it hit the resistance at $78 and it started to trend down, as you can see, it actively trending below the 180-day EMA line. It's showing signs of a downward pattern. This is not something that I want to invest in. So what is it that I wait for? I wait for the break above the EMA, and you could have waited here. It broke above it, and knowing that there was a potential resistance at $55, which is one that it's already hit again, it validated as a resistance. You could see like, okay, hey, I'll buy above the break above the 180-day EMA. I'll buy at $50, and then I'll cover my profits at 55, knowing that that was a previous resistance. And very simple pattern. You wait for the break above the EMA, for the candles to start trending above the EMA line, and then once that hits that resistance or your ideal sell point, then you cover profits. Or when it starts to break that pattern and then starts to trend below the EMA line, then obviously there's a break of pattern there, and you have a better understanding that, okay, now it's starting to trend back down. Maybe it's time to cover profits, so locking them in, or to cut losses, minimizing risk. So that's the general understanding of how it is that I use the EMA line. I have a full video if you guys haven't watched it already, getting a little bit more into detail. I really wanted to focus on the length of the EMA, and why is it that in some stocks or ETFs the length is a little bit longer, and when I break down a couple other stocks, the length is a little bit, I guess not as long, it's a little bit smaller. And the reason that I do that is when I see that something is extremely volatile, and I see that the EMA line on the 15 length EMA is not very accurate, I can adjust it, and that's the whole point of having these settings. Not everything has to be set in default. I think a very good example is something like QRVO. QRVO is a little bit more volatile than a lot of these stocks or ETFs that I trade. one of the things that I noticed is when you look at the EMA line here, sometimes it pulls below the EMA line and, it does hold above it, but then it pulls back below it as well. The 15 length EMA is not going to be the perfect nor ideal kind of just study filter to have, because it doesn't give you, I think, the best understanding of how it is that the stock is trading. So what I can do here is I can click here, click edit studies, and then go and actually edit it right here. And I can change this to, let's say, 30. So I'm going to make it a little bit more loose. So instead of it being so tight around the EMA line, so if I change this to like 5 or to 4, it's going to be writing right where the all the different candles are. But I'm going to give it a little bit more kind of just flexibility, and it's going to react at a much slower pace. So I'm going to click OK, and as you guys can see now, I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you guys can see or get a better understanding. Now, a majority of the candles are above the EMA line, and it's not as close to or as centered in the middle of the EMA line. So the reason that this could be helpful is you give it more time for the candles to consolidate or to start actively trending up to get a better understanding of a full confirmation that, hey, the stock is actually starting to actively trend up. So now that I changed the length to the EMA line to 30, let's go ahead and take a look at something like DGAS. So with DGAS itself, the length being a little bit longer, it's going to be a little bit more loose. Do you guys see this? That you can see right here that when DGAS started trending down with the length of the 30 EMA, you could see that it never really, as it started actively trending down, there's only one time that it tried to break above it, but again, it didn't hold. There's no body of the candles that actually held above the length or above the EMA line. Until recently, right, when it broke above $20 this recent time, and that was an amazing call out. But if we were to make this EMA line a little bit tighter, so we're going to go here to studies. Look how the study is right now, and then we're going to change it to a length of, let's do 5, just so you guys can see the difference. And as you guys can see, the EMA line now is much more centered in between these candlesticks, and it's much more active. I think that's a pretty nice word to say. It's much more active. I tend to use, in my experience, a tighter or smaller EMA line when I'm day trading, as it makes more sense to want a more active understanding of the current patterns intraday, especially if you're trading something that's extremely volatile. Now, when it comes down to swing trading, something that's a little bit more long term, you want to give it time, and you want to make sure that you have a full-on confirmation and full-on understanding that, hey, the candles and the overall patterns are actually making sense, and it's actually starting to consolidate. Something like using this for JDST, that's not going to be very accurate. I mean, this looks like a trend line itself. The EMA line isn't going to give me really any true understanding or indication. But now if I, again, go back to the edit studies and I change this instead of the 5 or the 9, and I change this to a length of 30 or even 25, just a little bit more loose, but not as loose as it was before. Now I have a much better understanding on where it is that, hey, okay, it broke above the EMA when it broke above 50. It might be a good time to buy. Sell at 55, great. It trended below the EMA line, great, whatever. Breaks again above the EMA line, okay, it broke above that. I'm gonna wait till it breaks above 50, great, broke above that, and then cover at 55. It's a much easier study to use when it's, I think, a little bit longer. To get a full-on confirmation that, hey, this thing is actually trending up, and the study filter makes much more sense. Now, I'm showing you guys based on my experience and how it is that I use it for my specific style of trading. So if you're someone that has a full-time job, if you're someone that works full-time or is extremely busy and doesn't have time within the market open hours, so if you're in my time zone, Arizona Mountain Standard Time, if you're anywhere from 7:30 a.m. Leading up to 2 p.m. If you're not available during that time, then day trading isn't going to be ideal for you. At least it's not going to be very realistic. So something that we do amazing within our Learn Plan Profit group, which is the first link in the description, is that we break down a number of stocks on a weekly basis together as a group. So we speak to each other in our private group, and we talk about the top trending stocks, not only intraday, so not only day trades, but also long-term trades. So if you have a goal of growing your account 5 to 10%, we want to make sure that we're here to guide you in the right direction. And that's something that we do really amazing within our private group, as well as with our overall group of TechBud solutions. So you can simply click the links down below to get a little bit of a better understanding and learn more about what it is that we have to offer both within our course and both within our free group. We have over 78,000 members within our free networking group, and we have thousands of members within our private group that are learning every single day. And a couple profits are going to be showing up by one of our top callouts for a swing trade. And again, these are people with full-time jobs. These are people that are full-time students that understand the patterns and that we teach them the basics and fundamentals of investing in the stock market. So I hope that today's video made it simple and straight to the point on how the length of the EMA can be better adjusted for your specific style of trading. So if you're a day trader and are looking for more intraday plays, maybe having a tighter or smaller length EMA would make more sense to you because you want it to be more active. Now, if you're a swing trader and you had it at the length of 9, maybe having it at like 15 or 20 or 25 would make much more sense to get a better understanding or a more of a confirmation that, hey, the stock that you are investing in is now actually starting to trend up, or having a better understanding on when these stocks and ETFs are actually starting to trend up. We cover all this step by step in our course, which is the first link in the description. So if you like the way that I break things down, then I know that you're going to love the Learn, Plan, Profit lesson library. I'd love to speak to you and work with you on a daily basis. So if that's something that you're interested in, just dedicate 1 minute of your life. Click that first link in the description and see if it's something that you would be interested in, and seeing if I can assist you this 2018 in making it your best year ever. So thank you guys again so much for your time. All the links for our free group, the Learn, Plan, Profit lesson library, and everything it is that I am about if you want to stay connected, all the links are down below. If you have any comments or suggestions for future videos, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section. And if you guys like the simple breakdown, please feel free to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already. I can't thank you guys enough for your time. Continue working hard, continue following your dreams, let your passion be what drives you in your success. And like always, guys, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.
I'm at my prime. Yeah. I'm at my prime. Whoa. Have I gone too far? Do you detect something different? If you look at